This is Jay from OCM Magazine. Today we're sitting down with MissKeenEye from the OCM community. And once again, I wanted to try and spotlight some of the key pieces to the community. And today we're going to ask her some questions. So let's get started. All right, MissKeenEye, could you tell us a little bit about your background, just in general, maybe a little bit how you got into the Web3 or crypto community beforehand?
Okay, so I have a background in software engineering. I have experience in, all phases of the software lifecycle requirements, all the way to client support and systems implementation and security. We were originally from Canada and then moved to California 10 years ago. And during the transition from moving between Canada to the States, there was a period where I couldn't work, visa status.
Yeah,
So
understandable.
so I started volunteering full-time at the Red Cross. I thought, this is just perfect where I could, contribute to a new country, new society, and get to learn, what my new home will be like.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that kept me busy. In my 1 year tenure there, I helped develop the volunteer and intake and onboarding program. So that kind of coincided with just my experience in software engineering, just working with clients, the technical folks, as well as business and, the users, right? That's just a breadth of different technology levels. But, with just not having kind of family support in the States and wanting to raise a family, I just thought it might be better just to take a pause for my career. So I decided to just put it on hold for a bit. And the plan was, to take a 2 to 3 year gap. That way
I can relate. I'm currently the stay-at-home dad with lots of hobbies. So
oh my goodness.
yeah,
It's a good time. I
it
mean,
is.
I cherish every moment of it. And I'm thankful
Definitely.
that I was able to do that.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I think that kind of added to just being kind of grateful for, the little things. It's not always go, 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 go.
Yeah.
I got to see the world in a little person's perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, gosh, where was I? And then,
You say like 2014, you had to take a little break. And then I'm guessing, with your background in tech, maybe, 2017, 18 during maybe like the ETH boom or probably before, maybe, what made you get into crypto and the Web3 space or OCM in general? Is that a little bit farther down the line or?
that's a little bit farther down the line.
Okay.
So, yeah, pandemic hit. And then,
Okay.
I just continued being a full-time mom. And then
Hmm.
basically by that point, I had a 6 year gap, which is like an eternity in tech,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
So I had to kind of figure out what are my choices. And, just seeing the news feed, I was seeing more and more mentions of crypto and blockchain. And I thought,
Yeah.
I haven't been following tech as much, but what is this? And so I just kind of explored it a little bit further from a high level.
Yeah.
And, it also helps that my partner, who is a computer engineer, was, starting to explore the space on his own,
Right.
just with a
Blockchain, what's
friend.
the technology, whatever. Yeah. It's interesting. There's,
Exactly.
code are, like there's so many different aspects that grab different people for different reasons.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And just the kind of the concept of smart contracts, we just started talking it's like the perfect vehicle
Hmm.
for funding, just crowdsourcing, right? You've got
Hmm.
the funding portion, but the art aspect and, you know, incorporating those two for instance, like climate change crowdfunding
Hmm.
projects, that would be huge
Yeah.
because it could be generational as well too. We just thought, oh, what if you could help support, a conservation effort where you could adopt like a panda, but see it actually grow. So you would have the image kind of change over time
Yeah.
and
That's
you could
cool.
see it fund. And, I could even pass it down to my daughter when she's older and she can actually see how my funding impacted
Right.
this little panda and
Yeah.
how it
And all
grew
the
up.
iterations. And yeah, that's amazing. That's a great idea. I really like
Like,
that.
No, thanks.
Yeah. I mean, I know,
But
OCM had has donated in several different ways through Metagood and et cetera. But, they did the NFT when the Ukraine war broke out and stuff like that. So, but that's a really interesting use case that I definitely could see in the world someday. And I think it's also being used in different aspects, different ways. But I know certain places like have a dog kennel in Africa or, other things like
yeah,
that, or you could save some monkeys and have a refuge and it's funded through the DAO someday or something, like that's definitely a cool,
exactly.
yeah, that's definitely a cool use case. I like it a lot, honestly.
Mm.
So let's dive into, your post pandemic. So what, 2020, 2021-ish. And
2021.
okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then you're looking for something to do and you see some monkeys on the internet, I'm guessing. And how did that happen?
So actually that idea spurred just researching on NFTs that, and climate change.
Okay.
And just what's the best way to learn a new field is to be hands-on, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so we bought some NFTs. The first one was a total rug, but I hold it dear to my heart
It
really
it has
because
a space in your hidden folder forever, or
no,
maybe in
no,
the
no, no,
not
no,
even hidden.
not even hidden. It's just a good reminder because that was the start. And I
Right.
think it spurred us to learn more about the space.
And yeah, do better
Um,
research and yep, just no red flags. Yeah. We're still
yeah,
learning them every day out here.
exactly, exactly. Yeah. And yeah, just that research just pointed to MetaGood. Like in my partner was, in an alpha access Discord.
Hmm.
And then they were talking about, hey, there's this free mint called On Chain Monkey. This team is like huge. And,
Yeah.
we never heard of it. We're just still learning the space. And so we weren't part of the mint, but we got into the OCM early on,
Mhm.
and then joined the Discord on September 11th.
Okay.
Oh,
Good day to
yeah.
start.
And it was a good day to start. Yeah. Actually, my partner joined first and then he said, oh my gosh, this Discord is chaotic.
Yeah.
I think they might use your help with organizing data.
Yeah.
And that's what I enjoy doing. And yeah, and I just jumped in and, okay, yeah, I think I can help kind of answer some questions. I'm learning too, but
Right.
what
Give
better
and
way to
take.
explore together? Yeah, yeah. And that just kind of got the ball rolling and more I got involved with, helping Danny and Amanda out on a volunteer basis. And,
Okay.
I really enjoyed working with them. And, when they mentioned on spaces that they were hiring, I just thought, yeah, maybe I can contribute somehow. And
Nice.
yeah,
Awesome. And now we're here. So can you just kind of give us a little background on like, what's like a normal day or project kind of week for you, just working with the community and stuff like that? Just give some highlights on what you normally do that maybe some of the community doesn't know about.
okay. Oh gosh. Well, my day to day is a little bit all over the place. I mean, we all wear a number of hats at MetaGood. We're a
For
very
sure.
agile team that just
Like any
very
startup.
supportive. Yeah, yeah, like any startup. But I would say like just community. I largely work behind the scenes.
Hmm.
So Discord, helping out the mods. There's the wiki, merch, collaborations.
Yeah.
I work closely with the volunteer group Rising Times to help, coordinate allow lists, just identify programs that kind of facilitate, more efficient communications or workflow within
Hmm.
our community and team. Essentially just wherever, the team needs me.
Yeah.
Like, I'll test the website, the mint list applications, when it was
Yes.
launched kind of thing.
Right. So all those things for the in between of, Danny making all this amazing code with the team and we know it's all a team triumph when things happen, but and Danny said that many a times. I've heard him say it in
Yeah.
spaces and things, but yeah, I just wanted to highlight like there's these people behind the scenes a lot of the time that are making all these connections, whether it be for fun stuff, for collab lists, for just making sure things run on a day-to-day basis, that Discord, the website, and that's really awesome. So thank you for that. So is there anything that you want to highlight that you feel like needs to be highlighted a little bit more in the community?
Highlight it a bit more. I would say I have two things. I think just, ask questions. Just ask.
Okay.
Drop a line in general if you have any questions for the team or anything to share. I mean, like we're grateful for every question and comment shared because it helps build the community. It helps give us feedback on, how to formulate certain things. What works? What do you have questions on? How can we improve in the wiki or the communications? But also to leverage, like, we're just surrounded, like in Discord, we're just surrounded by an immense, talented, helpful community that,
Hmm.
come from all over the world, breadth of experience and skill sets, IRL connections. I would say
Okay.
just hop into like meetup chat and hang with your local monkeys because I think in-person connections are important. You could call it like community team building.
Hmm.
Um, and they're small groups. So like some of the larger IRL like conferences can be a bit daunting if it's like
Right.
your first time and
Hmm.
there's like hundreds and thousands of people. But
Yeah.
locally, like it's a small intimate group. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we've talked about that with a few people from the team, outside the team, and I would give a recommendation on that area too, is just be a captain in your area. If you want to make something happen, you got to be the captain. And I definitely plan on doing that more in my area. I'm going to be
Oh,
gone a
good.
little bit of the summer, as you know, but yeah, I'm excited to hopefully, start that back up in the late summer, fall, and just say, hey, I'm going to be doing this here, and do you want to come? And if you're just willing to do that, you never know, somebody might pop in and say, hey, I'm a monk, how are you,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's just
That's
super cool.
perfect.
And I
Yeah.
posted recently in one about doing like a 2 city meetup where maybe we do like a baseball game in one city, and then when they come back
Mhm.
later in the year, do a baseball game at the other city, so it's a little cross community thing. And obviously you could
Oh,
do it with like basketball or hockey or soccer or
yeah.
whatever, any event that's in a city, a museum, whatever. So that's a great suggestion. I totally agree.
I love your ideas of just meeting at a particular spot because, just
Yeah.
exploring
Hey, I'm
something
going
with
to the museum
another.
with my family today. If you want to pop by, or try and give some notice, obviously, because
Yeah.
not everybody's on Discord 24/7. Some of us might be, but not everybody. So yeah, it's just nice. And you can always make like a Twitter group out of it and then have that connection and try and build off
Yeah.
of that. And that's a great idea too. So yeah, I think those are two very great points that, we would love to highlight. And I will definitely keep that in mind while doing the writing.
Oh, thanks.
No problem.
Thanks, Jay.
Yeah. And then, so yeah, so my next part was just, is there anything that you want to just bring to the community and highlight that's outside of OCM that you feel passionately about? A little more
Okay.
outside, I guess.
Oof. A little bit outside. Can I have two? One inside and one
Of
outside?
course. Yeah. There are no
Okay.
parameters, no parameters. Yeah. As much data as
Uh,
you want to provide.
okay. Okay. So the inside one, I'm really looking forward to how we're just at the bleeding edge of ordinals and building those standards. I mean, just I think it's a real privilege to be able to see something, an idea develop into, just see the steps of how
Yeah.
it's developed. Like it's a rare, rare opportunity. The second thing, I'd say I am a terrible gardener, but I enjoy it. I started during the pandemic, and I
Hmm.
would recommend anyone and everyone to try a bit of gardening because I feel that that actually teaches a bit of patience, like
Okay.
seeing something grow from a seed, and then you have to wait for a bit, and
Hmm.
then you nurture it, and then over time it becomes something fruitful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that.
Sustenance.
Yes, yes. There's it sparks joy when you see like, oh, I grew this seed and then now I can
Hmm.
like it's a flower or
Yeah.
something edible like a French radish, which is
Mhm.
like the simplest thing to grow.
Is that, what do you grow generally?
Oh, generally, I would say half the time I'm pulling up plants because I overwater them, but
Hmm.
it's good to see like,
Every single
gosh,
one's different. I have a
every
decent
single
green
one is
thumb,
different.
but yeah, at my old
Oh,
house,
lucky.
I had a like a raised bed for probably like a decade, and it worked for decent about 5 years. And then when I happened to put it in, they trimmed back the trees for all the power lines and stuff. So I had tons of sun, but just every year I got a little bit less, a little bit less, and I could actually see the difference. So I actually like shut
Yeah.
it down and just like put a tarp over it. And I may use the dirt again or whatever, but it just wasn't making sense for really anything that
Yeah.
grows here. Like, tomatoes in most places just grow like wildfire, and those weren't even doing well anymore. So yeah, I just knew it
Yes.
was time. But yeah, I've had like an herb bed and other things like that. So yeah, it's interesting to have a connection, to see something grow in stages, and then you bear the fruits of it later down the road. Yeah, I can definitely see that.
And yeah, like you said, if just the sun changes a little bit, like
Hmm.
what happened, right? And
Yeah. You
yeah,
can definitely grow a connection with the plants and things like that. It's interesting because you're checking up on them all the time. And maybe it's just because you happen to go outside and do a phone call, but then you find
yep.
yourself halfway through the phone call pulling out a weed, and then maybe eating a tomato, or sniffing the mint, or whatever it may be. So yeah, it just kind of gets you back, just touching dirt, touching grass, whatever you want
Fishing
to
dirt.
call it.
Yeah.
That's great.
So
That's great. Well, awesome. Thank you for that little tidbit. That's a good one. I like that. So everybody make sure you get your seeds early. I've actually like taken seeds and just put them under like a little light inside, and grown my own, starter plants before too. So yeah, it's cool. You can do it like in a
yeah,
windowsill if you want to do it small scale, or
yeah,
you can buy a little light at
exactly.
Home Depot or whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely been a pleasure. Is there anything else you wanted to share with us today before we wrap up?
No, it was a pleasure meeting you, Jay. And thank
Yeah.
you for having me.
Awesome. Well, I hope to see you at the next IRL. I unfortunately couldn't make New York. I had a little family incident beforehand. Everything's fine, but yeah, I just couldn't make it happen. So hopefully, yeah, down the road, definitely. And like you said, I can always be a captain and try and do the local IRL meetups on my own.
Yes. Yeah, and SGC is accepting IRL meetup requests. So
Oh, very good. Okay, cool. I'll
yeah.
definitely look into that, and I'll be, yeah, chatting with them shortly too. So that'll be fun.
Oh, perfect. Perfect.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks everybody for checking us out at OCM Magazine. This is Jay with MissKeenEye. And thank you again for the time, and all the work you put in behind the scenes, and just everything you do for the community. We want to say thanks.